the way.
We're wanted men.
I have spoken.
You know, I really should hit like record right when we get on. Oh, he's got him back.
That's all.
Jason came to the video this morning with eyebrows on, and we just had like a 5-minute conversation on how to remove them. But
Yeah.
oh, anyway, welcome to episode 294 of the Smugglers Galaxy podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. Oh, we had last week off. We're taking a few weeks off after this, huh?
We had last week off.
We had last week off from the show, but not from.
Did not. Feel
Oh
like...
my God, we bust our ass last week? But anyway, you busted yours as much more than I did mine, but I was not too far behind.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But anyway, Rogue Fun recap today.
Let me just issue a disclaimer before we start.
Yes.
We're just gonna present information as it happened, and if it sounds like we're complaining about something or whining about something, we're just explaining what happened.
Right. And we're also using this time to decompress because we haven't talked about anything in a week. You know, we haven't talked about Rogue Fun. We haven't talked about Maul. We hadn't talked about Celebration. So there's a lot of crap that happened this last week that we haven't talked about. So this is our decompression show. So yeah, like Jason said, if it sounds like we're griping and moaning, we're not. We're just being raw and unfiltered we're not gonna,
like if I say that we were up until 2:30 in the morning packing up the room, that's just what happened.
Right.
We're not complaining that we were up till 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, it sucked, but I enjoyed sleeping in Sunday morning, not having to deal with it. But anyway, yeah, Rogue Fun was a big success. Great success.
So was Rogue Fun 2.
Yes, Rogue Fun 2. Jesus.
Fun.
Why do we have to number things? I don't know.
To differentiate the ones.
Yes, but Rogue Fun 2 was, my goodness. So do you want to get into Rogue Fun 2? Or do you want to talk about news, or what do you want to talk about?
No, this is just a Rogue Fun episode.
So you don't even want to, okay.
Well, we could talk about Celebration. I think Maul we can save until we're back from break. We'll have to talk about Mando and Grogu when we're back from break.
Yeah, we'll talk about Maul. Yeah, that sounds good.
I definitely want to attack Maul because that, I think, just was maybe the greatest animated show ever.
Yeah.
Don't slap me.
No, I love my Rebels. But Maul definitely, especially the last episode, was what I've been wanting from Star Wars for a while. Yeah. And I think season 2 is going to be exactly what I've been wanting from Star Wars for a while. So, but yes, we could attack Maul later. But yeah, let's get into Celebration real quick because I know we picked stuff up but it's all Rogue Fun stuff. So we'll get into that at room sales when we talk about our pickups, and swag and all that stuff. That's all Rogue Fun stuff. But let's gripe about Celebration real quick, and then we'll get into Rogue Fun too, because this is, what the hell were they thinking with Celebration tickets, man?
I don't know. 20 tickets per person seems excessive, and I was talking to someone and they were like, yeah, it should have been 4 tickets and then 4 kids tickets. And that should have been the limit.
Right.
I mean, maybe you could push it to 5 adult tickets and 4 kid tickets, but 20 tickets?
Yeah.
You're just asking for the scalpers. And
yeah,
I think the common thought is that they wanted to sell out of the 4-day and force people to buy the single day because it's more expensive and they make more money that way.
Well, I mean, I would push it one more. I would go 6, but yeah, you're right. Kids tickets, the kids tickets should be unlimited because they're not going to sell out of kids tickets. Or in theory, in my mind, that would be the last ticket to sell out. But if you have a group, anyway, long story short, Yeah, 20 per was ridiculous. And I definitely agree that if they were pushing it to that hard that they were wanting people because to buy the single day tickets because it was like $80 more. But people were waiting in line like 5 hours
Yeah.
there's no freaking way that you should have to wait in line 5 hours, virtual line for 5 hours
No.
to buy a ticket to a freaking con just to
No.
find out the ones you want are sold out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then their message at the bottom of the screen as you were waiting was delayed.
Yeah.
So it said that Jedi VIP was sold out at one point when the 4-day tickets were sold out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just I'm so thankful that I'm not going to that. I mean, I would love to go to Celebration, but it just I'm sorry, I'm turning off my I'm turning on my do not disturb. Anyway, I wasn't planning on going anyway, but I was kind of in the line to see what would happen, and we're in the chat, and we've got 30 people in that chat going crazy because of Celebration tickets, and yeah, I couldn't imagine that. The more and more, I mean, because what the VIP sold out in seconds, which that's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
And then the 3-day passes, 4-day passes are sold out in like 2 hours before the majority of people could even get in.
Yeah. I have business reasons to go. So I had to get tickets and it was about an hour and a half for me to get tickets and I was one of the lucky ones. Sam Bennett had
Yeah,
gotten in like it seemed like within 20 minutes
right.
and he was able to get the 4-day, but by the time he was in there, the Jedi Knight was sold out.
Yeah.
And Jedi Knight was being resold for $7,000 on scalping sites. So
Yeah,
I
I've heard
think
people. Go
I think
ahead.
it's a cluster.
Yeah, no, I think uh, Celebration needs to really think about Reed Pop because we've been saying that for this has been 10. This is the 10th year. So and everybody's been complaining about Reed Pop for 10 years.
It doesn't seem like they care.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm, they're perfectly fine.
Yeah, I just
As long as it sells out, then what I mean, vote with your wallet. If it sells out, then something's working.
right, that's how they feel. Yeah, we're all good.
Mm.
But then again, you got people like us who, yeah, I'd love to go to Celebration, but it's in a crappy, it's just in a bad part of the country. LA. Everybody's griping about it being in LA. The only reason they really put it in LA, which I don't blame them, was because of the Lucas Museum. Because it'll push people to that museum.
And Anaheim was booked. The
Yeah,
Anaheim Convention Center was booked. It's my understanding that LA Convention Center was the only place there was availability.
right. But you would think that it's Star Wars.
Yeah, I have a friend who has been to every single celebration and couldn't get tickets to this one. So, I mean, you're
Yeah.
cutting out the people who've been there since day one. Like they were at celebration one.
Yeah, and there's
And they
guys that walk around Celebration with all their badges, like a badge of honor. That
yeah,
I've been to all of them.
yeah.
So and I'm also hoping that the people that you read pop will either snag those tickets back from those people or something will happen because I know when we went in 22 that's what happened with us is somebody, oh, we can't make it so you can have my tickets, and they give it, we get it for what they paid. But
Yeah, it was a crap show. And by the time I got into the system, I had the opportunity to buy shirts and posters and whatever. And I was more afraid of adding something to my cart and then it being sold out in terms of tickets, not the shirts.
right, well, no, and
So,
then yeah,
so
no, I told
I just loaded up my tickets and clicked purchase because I didn't want to fart around. And then the other thing that happened, so I'm waiting an hour and a half and I'm getting all these messages that VIP sold out, 4 days sold out. It's my time to go. And that little green guy gets to the end, and I'm like, I should be in this thing because it's at the end. And I had to wait a further 5 minutes before it refreshed and said, okay, it's your turn.
Mhm.
And then it said, there was an error message on screen and says, like, you did this, you were trying to cut the line, you were trying to do this. And I'm like, I'm just sitting on my computer trying to get into this thing. How do I cut a line?
I could hear you screaming from the
I was
message.
screaming and I posted a photo in one of the chats, and then Susan was like, just refresh your browser. And I refreshed it and I was in. But still, I'm like, if I had not known to refresh my browser and close things out and through my computer, I would not have gotten tickets at all.
Right. Because they're like, don't refresh, don't refresh, don't refresh, because you use your place in line, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's like, and I could imagine just what would happen. Imagine what would have happened if they'd have started you over because you refreshed.
I would have been livid.
Jason would have lost the computer.
I'm trying to find the message. I think I
It's
deleted
so
it.
far back in that chat, dude.
No, I
Oh,
had a screen grab, but it's gone. So
yeah, it was basically like you tried cheating and you tried jumping the line, so you're screwed.
it's just a computer, like it's a browser. I didn't do anything.
Right.
I get this message. It was frustrating.
No, I get it. I was frustrated for everybody because I could feel the frustration in that chat. And I just remember when I got tickets to 17, I may have waited 20 minutes in a line. It's a normal queue, and was able to get passes. And now knowing that, oh yeah, they made it for 20, you could buy 20 tickets at a time, and people are, and you got bots and you got all this other stuff. I mean, the bots are ridiculous, but I know they try battling those, but
Yeah, they said they sold out 70,000 tickets in 5 hours.
yeah.
But Susan was saying she remembers when was it Celebration 4 or something? Like she just bought a Saturday ticket the week of.
Yeah. So I don't know if people are, maybe this is a sign that Star Wars is back, but I just think it's people that are trying to make money because, like you said, you've got people that are selling the tickets, selling the 4-day passes for, $1,000, selling Jedi for $6,000 or $7,000. And I know people are trying to turn those people in, but truthfully, the best thing I can do is tell you is if you're wanting to go, wait for it to get closer, and maybe somebody will get desperate and try selling their tickets. And I don't know. It annoys me because, well, not annoys me, but I know people, when you look at the hotel rooms are like $300 to $400 a night,
Yeah. Yeah,
which,
it's a very expensive endeavor.
yeah, which blows my mind. I don't, and I'm still in the boat. If I go to California, I want to go to California because I don't want to go to California for a show. And I was talking to somebody at Rogue Fun that they were talking the same thing about England. He was like, I went to England to go to Celebration. My wife went to England to sightsee.
Yeah.
So he was like, to him, in his mind, it was almost a wasted trip because yes, he got to go to Celebration, but he missed out in England because he was going to Celebration.
Yeah, I think I'm going to Celebration, and then on that Sunday when Celebration ends, the family's coming out to Anaheim, and we're going to go to Disney for a couple days.
Nice.
So I think that's the plan right now. We'll have to solidify that and figure out hotels and stuff. But I think that's what's going on. They're not doing Celebration. I'm doing that alone.
Especially with the cluster of ticket sales.
Solo. Yeah, and that was the other thing. Like when I finally got into the thing, I'm like, I'm just buying my ticket.
Right.
I'm not going to fart around.
Yeah, no fooling. Because that's the worst when you have it in your cart and before you could check out, somebody buys it before you.
It's like 150,000 people are trying to get into this room to buy tickets
Yeah.
at the same time. There's got to be a better way for this crap.
I I don't know. I'm not a computer engineer, but I mean, yeah, you're right. There has to be something.
Even if you like put in your intention, like I want one 4-day ticket. You go in, you make your reservation. I want my 4-day ticket, and then the thing opens up. You get an email, hey, you've been selected for your 4-day ticket. Go ahead and purchase it.
Mm.
And so we know there's a person attached to it, no bots. You're making a reservation. You're purchasing your ticket. You don't have to wait in line. You just wait for your email.
I mean, they could do a lottery system like that because I know the Savannah Bananas are in town, and that's what they have to do. You send your email in, and they okay, here's you can buy tickets. You
Yeah.
know,
It's a cluster, and
yeah.
I think coming off of Rogue Fun, it made people appreciate the simplicity of a fan-run event versus these corporate ones that are just a cluster and a half.
Right. Well, that was a big push at that moment because everybody was like, "Aren't you glad you went to Rogue Fun?" And our buddy Toby, he's doing we could talk about May the yeah, we could talk about
We
it.
can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's now announced.
Okay, yeah. So he's doing May the North in September of 27 in Canada. And I'm like, I would much rather go to that. And he was kind of using that as a boost to
Yeah,
push his show
yeah.
because he's just like, yeah, the fan run events, boutique conventions, as I think we've started calling them, is so much more fun because okay, I'm going to be with my group of friends for 3 days and only have like a couple hundred people to deal with versus
Yeah.
100,000.
Yep. You don't have any lines. And then May the North, at least the one I went to, was a little bit smaller than even our event.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mean to say it. I don't take it the way I'm saying it. It's in Canada. I mean, and it's hard to get to. I mean, not hard to get to, but
You
it's
need a passport.
you need a passport. It's a more
There's some more
expensive
prep.
plane ticket. There's more prep for it. So you can't just say, okay, I'm going to Canada tomorrow, to go to Rogue Fun, to go to May the North. But it, you know, I missed the last one. It's given me an excuse to, I've talked to Mandy and we're like, well, let's go up Wednesday, and then we can go see the falls. We can do a little bit of sightseeing. We can see Canada because I've never been to Canada. See part of the country that I've never seen, part of the world I've never seen,
Part of the
and
country.
go, huh? Country,
Part
yeah,
of the country.
it's a different country. I can go out the country. Truthfully, only time I've been out the country is on a cruise. I've legitimately never been out the country. And
Well,
a cruise really don't count. But anyway, long story short, it's like I can make an excuse and go to May the North, and it's a year and a half away, so we
yeah.
can plan for it. And I get to support a buddy.
Yep. But enough about them. What about us?
Oh man, I thought it flew by the last time. This time was ridiculously fast.
Oh, let's see where you're going with that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I think it was. I do you want to do like an overview, or do you just want to get into it, or
Just,
how do you?
we can play day by day.
Yeah, because that's what I did. I've got like notes day by day, like talking points of each day.
So on Thursday, I at 9 o'clock walked about a mile to the closest U-Haul place to rent the truck.
Jeez, why did you get it? Well, it's only a mile, but
It's
still.
only a mile, and I've walked miles before, so it's not like to go get something like when I was growing up and living in Miami for the summer, it's like no biggie to walk a mile to the comic book shop.
Right. But Miami, they have sidewalks.
There's a sidewalk out there.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah, in Shiloh. So I just walked the sidewalk, picked up the truck. The mistake was like with the number of steps and things I was doing that day, I probably could have just asked Harrison to wake up early and drive me, but
Yeah.
I was already asking him a lot to help me pack the truck.
Yes. We'll get to that when we unloaded the truck.
So so the nervous thing was I got the truck and I went straight to the rental place to rent the lights and the backdrop, the pipe and drape. But I started backing down my driveway and the truck was sliding as I was like hitting the brake.
Oh my God.
There was no rain or anything, and I'm like, this is making me nervous for going up.
Right.
There's nothing in this truck and I'm sliding back. But luckily with the weight in the truck, I had no problem pulling it up. But we get down there, and Harrison and we start loading up that truck, and we get to the end of it, and it was like we started at what, like 10:30-ish, 10:45, and we were done around 12:30.
Uh-huh.
And there was just a couple things left, and we had to put some stuff in the cab. We were just trying to find little pockets to hide things in to put everything in the truck.
Hmm.
And he made like a joke, like there's a place in the multiverse where we actually pack this thing full in the right way. Some smart ass remark like that. But we got done around 12:45 and I realized, oh crap, I got to pick up Mark because our event producer Mark was flying in.
Yeah.
I had to pick him up from the airport, and Jerry was doing a lot of runs to the airport in the morning to pick up Roger and Duncan and Ann and Nick. And Toby. So I thought, I'll do that for you. I'll take this one. So I went down and I picked up, I had to circle the airport a couple times. And it was funny because when it was finally time, he was got all his luggage and he's out. I see him and he's like flipping me off with the middle finger. I'm like, okay, he sees me, so he knows I'm here. So we get back to my place. He had like an hour and a half call.
Hmm.
So as he's on his call, like I'm getting the house ready for the event at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I can't remember.
It's 6. It started at 6. I was there at
6.
5. People actually were like looking at the
Yes.
traffic going because
Yes.
everybody, my wife had picked up Joel and Lindsay from the airport and was hanging out at the hotel, and everybody was griping about traffic because there was a Braves game and
Yeah.
construction. It's just Atlanta. And I think everybody was like, okay, I'm not ready to get back in traffic. So I think people started showing up like 6:30 is when people really started showing up at your place.
Yeah. Susan was there at 5:15. And so, excuse me.
Susan's always there. Her and Tim, you
Well,
can count on both of them. They're there
Susan
early.
came straight from, I think she said Tennessee from her parents' place. So
Yeah.
she didn't know about traffic. It's fine. It's not an issue.
Oh no, because they both helped. I mean,
But the other thing I was supposed to do on Thursday was pick up the passenger van. So we had something to transport our guests to Orion's and Center Puppetry Arts. And then if they needed to go somewhere on Sunday for lunch or whatever.
yeah.
And so it's like 3:30. This event's starting at 6 o'clock. I got to bring Mark down to the hotel to check in and get things ready. And I haven't picked up this passenger van and time's running short.
Right.
So I called the place up and I said, is there any way I could pick it up tomorrow? Because it's like, what's the big deal if I pick it up today or tomorrow? It's still my reservation. I'm still paying for it. Just leave it in the parking lot overnight. And they're like, no, we can't do that. It's going to be an extra $300 to amend the yeah, let's all basically cancel the original and start a new one.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. I said, I'll be right there.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not going to pay an extra $300 because you guys are being jerks or whatever
Right.
with your policies. It's their policy. It's whatever. So I get down there and it's like 4:30 and this is right next to the hotel because
Yeah.
in my genius, I decided to rent a place closer to the hotel and not closer to me
Right.
just to make it easy to like less mileage because I don't have to drive all the way from my place down to the hotel. And like that's, 8 miles or whatever that we don't have to pay for. So I pull up and I start to do the paperwork and it's just like problem after problem after problem because it's a company, a quote company because we're 501(c) with the bank account.
Right.
They need they need proof of like they need proof of address for the driver or something.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of crazy. They needed like a phone bill or a gas bill or something to prove that I lived in a home or something.
Jeez.
Like I'm using your insurance. I have the money. What difference does it make if the money comes from my personal account or if it comes from a business account? You're
Right.
getting the money,
Yeah.
but it's policy. And so it was just like, okay, here's this. Well, we can't use that because of this. Okay, fine. Here's this. Well, we can't so I ended up having to put down a down payment on my credit card,
Yeah.
which got
Well,
reversed and everything. So it was fine, but it was just like problem after problem with the clock ticking and I need to get to my place. So I finally
yeah.
get the truck. I finally get to the hotel. It's like 5 o'clock. No, it was like 4:45.
Yeah, because you kept messaging me going, okay, I'll be here at this time and that time. And I'm like, I'm stalling a little bit to get to your house because I didn't want to get there too early, and
Yeah.
you not be there.
So we drop off the van, and Shannon had gone down with us so she could drop off Mark. We also had Katie with us. So we dropped them off at the hotel so they could check in and do their thing, and they were going to get rides with someone else. And so Shannon and I just booked it. And so it was about 5:15 that I finally get to my place.
Yeah.
I am sweating. I am smelling. I quickly jump in the shower. Shannon quickly takes off to the barbecue place to get the food.
Yeah.
And then it's just the last minute things of trying to get the house together. And it was just a losing battle. People were coming and it's just like I just gotta
Yeah.
relax and hang out because I can't
Th-
be frantic anymore.
right. It is what it is. I think I figured out. So I was talking to speaking of like credit cards and stuff. If we do this again, I think I'm going to do a credit card. That way we don't have the same freaking deal with the bank account
Yeah.
like we did. And that way I could just write one check and have everything covered instead of having to worry about boom, 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 all these transactions. If we get a credit card, it'll be easy.
Yeah.
And I can give everybody a credit card and be like, here, because this is like really draw by the behind the curtain, but this is deep in the woods, that statement I'm making, but I'm just like, so because you were talking about and that I love my bank. I love the bank, the credit union we use, but it was for some reason every time we'd go to use our debit card, it would get flagged, and it
Yeah.
would get flagged, and it would get flagged, and I'm just like, what the hell? And every time I called, they're like, hey, you're fine. And I'm like, no, we're not.
Not fine. Not fine
So
at
then
all.
I was, as we were getting home last night, I said, wouldn't it be easier if we just got a credit card? And my wife was like, yeah. And I'm like, son of a gun, why didn't we think about that 6 months ago?
Yeah. If there
But
if there's a next time, then we'll just have to implement that.
yeah, I'm just like, it'll be easier and then do it that way. But yeah, no, Thursday, man.
That was the other thing. Like, no,
Yeah.
on Thursday on the way back to the hotel, or sorry, from the hotel to my place at 5 o'clock, I got on the phone. It was like 5:03. I got on the phone with the bank because they denied the charge for Moe's for the next day for Center Puppetry Arts.
Yeah.
So I talked to one guy and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, that department just closed at 5 o'clock, and so you'll have to call in the morning." So I set in a reminder to call myself to call back at like 8 a.m.
Mhm.
And the same guy picks up that I talked to at 5:03, and he was able to get it through. And it's like, man, why couldn't you do that last night?
Right. Well, because that department was closed last night.
But it's like
I
the same guy. There was no
right.
department that I wasn't redirected to that department. I talked to the same guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're you know, I'm happy with them, but it's just like when it I guess because they've got a limit. I think it's truly because we're using a debit card versus a credit card is the
Yeah.
whole reason. Um, but
But
anyway.
what was your thoughts on Thursday night?
Uh, let me see. No, I really Thursday was sort of my day to kind of let loose a little bit, which I think I kind of did because I go to leave and everybody's like, "You're not driving." I'm like, no, I'm fine to
I'm
drive.
fine to drive, guys. I'm just standing at a 45-degree angle like everybody else here.
And then you're like, and then Katie was like, "You're not driving, are you?" And I'm like, and a couple other people were like, "You're not driving," and I was like, "Oh, maybe I need to be serious. Maybe I need to listen to everybody." And then you start moving and you're like, oh, shoot. Yeah, I don't need to be driving. But the Thursday was sort of my night, because I'm like, okay, I know come tomorrow morning, it's on because we were setting up the room Friday. Um, no, it was a fun night because we set up. I had a lot of FOMO during the day because I kept seeing everybody because I had to work Thursday. So I kept seeing everybody get to the hotel. I kept seeing everybody hanging out. I've been seeing pictures. You got everybody's hanging out with Roger Christensen and
Christian.
Christian, sorry. Christian and all the I don't know if Alton was there yet or not, but
Alton, oh,
no, not Alton.
Nick. Nick
Nick. So
Manley
it
was
was
there.
Nick and Roger were hanging out, at the hotel with Jerry and Ryan, and I'm just like, son of a
Well, wait.
gun. Yeah.
Roger and no, Nick came in like at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Let me get closer to the microphone. I'm a professional. Nick came in at 6 o'clock and he went straight from the airport to my place. So
Okay.
Roger and Nick hadn't seen each other in 50 years since working on Star Wars, and they
Yeah.
saw each other for the first time in my Star Wars room, which just is pretty cool.
Right. And then I'm hearing stories as we're leaving that Nick, because they're just like, that Yoda guy's telling you Yoda stories in Jason's room. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
crap, I'm missing that.
Yeah.
But I was already like a foot out the door and I'm like, I can't, there's no running in there to watch this because it was already, I knew it was almost over. By the time I got there, it'd be over. But I'm just like, how cool is that for Jason to have that kind of stuff happening in his room? But no, I enjoyed Thursday. It was cool catching up with people. I saw a lot of people I hadn't seen in years. I'm sitting there. Lori, our listener Lori came. I
It
saw
was cool to meet
Will.
him.
Yeah, it was cool to meet him because he was like he just stands there and I'm like, and he speaks. I'm like, Lori.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, buddy, how you doing? Recognized him right away. But I saw a lot of people there that they'd be like, hey, man. And it would take me a second to be like, oh, crap, it's you. That kind of stuff. Because I think it was Will that he kind of just walks by me. And I'm like, Will, how you doing? But it was like that all night. And the cool part that everybody understood that they're like, you're meeting 200 people. I'm meeting you. You know what I mean? So they're like, everybody knows our names, but they don't expect us to know 200 people's names. So that was kind of, it's fun when everybody realizes that you're never going to remember all the people's names that you're meeting, even though you're meeting them for like the fifth time, some of the, not fifth time, but, so that was cool, is able to catch up with everybody, at your event without having the stress of, I have stuff to do. I could enjoy Thursday night and yeah, and not and have a little bit too much to drink. And then and then yeah, I missed SDQ. I missed David because I was like, we were going and leaving, and Joel was like, "Oh yeah, David was in the room," and I was like,
Yeah.
"David was here, and I missed him."
Yeah, it was 10 about 10 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh, David's not here." And somebody said, he's in the other room." I
Yeah,
was in the kitchen, so I went into the craft room, and there he was. I'm like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Hi,
right.
I'll catch up with you." And he's like, "No, come here, sit down." And so like a lot of the DC crew were sitting in around, and David was there, and Nick was just like telling all these Yoda stories, and I sat there for 5 minutes and then realized, oh, I got to go do something, so I left. But
Yeah,
it was
I
cool for
felt
5 minutes to listen to those stories.
I felt really bad for you because you were just running all weekend. And there was one point where I'm like, "What do you need me to do?" He's like, "You're like, leave me alone," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, I'm sorry for snapping at you. It was more
No,
like I
yeah,
had like this was on Friday, was it, or Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, yeah,
I was doing like five things, and then you touched me, and it was just like it brought me to from out of my head into my body,
yeah.
and the five things just disappeared, and I'm like, don't
Oh,
touch me. I
fudge.
just forgot what I was doing. And
So-
that's all. It was not
right.
like a
No, I get it because I understand that when we're in the heat of battle, stuff happens, and it's like it's the heat of battle. You kind of go, and you go about your business. So yeah, but no, I felt really bad for you because you were just running around, and um, I hope you enjoyed it. I
yeah.
hope you had a good weekend. But
Yeah,
yeah, I was
it
just
was fun. And Thursday, my youngest went to North Cobb, the high school for like a rally.
yeah.
She's with Cal, so they had like a rally. So my mom came, picked her up, took her there. And then on the way back, they were just like, "Oh my goodness," because my street was just lined with cars.
It really was.
And, and I got like video of all the cars because they were
Oh, it
just
was so
impressed.
much.
My
I'm
mom,
so. Go ahead.
my mom parked and she came down and she was just like, there's so many people in this house right now. She didn't think I could pack them all in, and they were there. And she walks like I'm like in my collecting room, and she walks in from the garage, which is right next to the collecting room, and she's just like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, hey, mom, this is Steve." Steve Sansley was just standing right there.
Right.
And she's like, "Hi, I'm Bevan and whatever." And afterwards, she's like, "Who is it that you introduced me to?" And I'm like, that's Steve with the world's largest Star Wars collection.
Right.
She's like, "Oh, okay." She knew of him, but she didn't know him.
Right. That was funny because Steve walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, table mate," and I'm just like, "Hey," I'm just going along with what he's saying, and then he goes, "You're not Jerry, are you?" I'm like, "No, I'm not Jerry." And then I saw me and Jerry close together. I finally caught up with Jerry, and I went, "Oh yeah, I could see how he'd get us confused because we both have dark glasses and white beards, and he has hair, I have none, but I
Yeah,
could
Steve should
totally
know that only one wears a silly hat.
right. I'm the only one with a silly hat, so." Um, Yeah, no, shoot. So a good thing that happened to me is our buddy Toby had an extra bed. So he offered it to me,
Yeah.
but it threw my whole planning because I'm a planner. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get XYZ ready. I'm gonna have time. And so like Thursday night, Friday morning, I had to pack for a weekend that I wasn't planning on packing for. So it like threw me into a good um not a tornado of stuff that I had to do, but I really appreciated the offer of that bed because then I could never leave. I didn't have to leave the hotel.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, now I've planned my whole day, my whole weekend out as far as getting stuff ready for each day, and then it just went.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. And then we had to go by, Friday morning, we had to go by and get my car because I left it at your house. And it was just, yeah, no.
Yeah,
Are
we
we
got
done with Thursday? Or
Yeah, we're done with Thursday. I
done
think it
with
was
Thursday?
successful. The
Oh,
projector started to go, but nobody was paying attention to that. They were
yeah.
just hanging outside, and
We had said something about the lines in the projector is what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah, somebody was like, "Is that the lines or is that the projector?" And I went
that's the
up,
projector.
yeah, or the background.
There's like a heat, what do they call it? A heat pad in
Uh-huh.
there that goes, it's brittle. And so maybe they replaced it a couple years ago. I got it fixed, and I guess it's starting to go again, so I got to get it replaced, but it worked in October.
Yeah, I did. And yeah, you're right. People, it was background noise at that moment.
Yeah, nobody was
Uh,
paying attention.
yeah.
Um, but then was there something else on Thursday? I can't remember. Maybe it'll come back to me, but
Uh, I do want to say because I had a thought when you were talking about all the people in your house. I'm surprised your place can handle that many people. It eats people really well.
yeah. Well, that's why we had to do the backyard too, to
You're
filter
right.
things out. And then we also had the screened-in deck, which people were hanging out in, and yeah.
Yeah, it was just it was you're looking around and it's just who's who of Star Wars collecting is hanging out in your at your
And
place.
then Friday morning, we got up early. It was like David Quinn left around 12:45. I walked into his car.
Hmm.
Then I got up at what, 6 in the morning, showered, got ready. The truck was already ready to go. So it was just a matter of jumping in the truck, waiting for you and
Right.
Mandy.
Yeah, because I
And
got a message from you, my house, 7:15, and I'm like, sir, yes, sir.
yes, because I knew you were drunk and I tried to keep it simple. I didn't want to give this long explanation. It's like, see you at 7:15.
Right.
But we get to the hotel and it was unloading time. Lewis was already there. Well, Lewis came to my house. So that's a quick funny story. Lewis was kind enough to stop by my house. Well, there was a miscommunication. He came to my house instead of straight to the hotel. We had already left by the time he showed up. And he brought a dozen eggs. He put the eggs outside. And so Harrison walks out, he sees the eggs and he just doesn't know what to make of it. And he goes to school. And then Josie comes home from school and she puts the eggs in the house. Harrison sees the eggs are in the house. He doesn't know where they came from, if they're safe, what's going on. So he puts them back outside. Anyways, that's just
Yeah, because by the time we left your house, Josie's walking to school, so I'm like, "Bye, have a great day," and she's just waving. And it's funny, just so I used to always get her confused with Maisie, so she'd always make fun of me. So this, I got another drawing the curtains back. So I always call her Harrison just to mess with her because that's like our thing, and I think nobody gets it because she just dies laughing every time I call her Harrison.
she says you call her Harrison because you can't remember Josie.
Probably. But I remember Josie. Now I've gotten there and I know her name's Josie, but
It
it
took
I
seven
call her
years.
Harrison, huh?
It only took 7 years, but
It, only,
moving on.
it really did. I suck with names. But I when I call her Harrison, everybody looks around and are like, "What are you doing?" But me, it's she just laughs. So anyway, yeah, and I was like, "Have a great day at school." Um, anyway, but
Well,
yes,
this is gonna be
get
like an hour and a half episode just
it
to
really
prepare
is.
everyone.
We're just still talking. It's
But
gonna
then Friday morning,
Friday morning. Yeah, so Lewis messages me. He's like, I think Jason's still asleep. I'm at his house. And I'm like, dude, we're at the hotel.
we are rolling, man. Um, but yeah, we had Lewis, you, me, Dan Lowe, and Fernando all helping unload the vehicle.
Yeah.
And that didn't take a lot of time. And the room was pretty much set except for the electronics by the end of the day on Friday.
Yeah.
There's some minor details we had to do on Saturday, but the room was set up and we were able to move things into the Wretched Hive, our display room of all these collectibles.
Yeah. Cause I had to run the Guitar Center to pick some stuff up. And that's a story in and of itself because uh Mark had found some stuff he wanted, some speakers we wanted. So he's like, don't run to the Guitar Center that's 3 miles away. Run to the one that's 20 miles away.
Because it's
Uh,
stock.
Cause it's in stock.
Yeah.
And then when I get there, of course, they don't have what we're looking for. So I was like, I'm texting him, talking to him, and well, then they're like, well, you can rent them, and so we end up renting them, and there's stuff wrong with them. So anyway, when I get them back, but that's yeah, I'm jumping ahead. But yeah, when I got back from running the Guitar Center, by that time you guys had the room, the accoutrement set. So all the
Mhm.
heads were on the table, all the props were set, and it was like I was like, holy smokes, you guys made incredible time in an hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was awesome to come back and see because you were just like, wait a minute, I need to see your face, and it was like, whoa, because you took it up like 3 notches just with the room this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. It's been fun putting that
Yeah,
thing together.
yeah,
But I mean, there was very little happening on Friday. I did apologized to George because George Roy came in to say hi and to see if because Rich and Angie were there too, helping to set up eventually.
Yeah.
They dropped Steve off at Orion's and came to the hotel to help set up, and then he had to go back to pick up Steve and Billy Galaxy and take them back to the house and stuff. And George had heard a rumor that Rich and Angie, and he hadn't seen Angie in like 25 years because they went to
Mm.
school together at University of Central Florida, where I went. And he came in and I'm like, get out, no, get out. Nobody in this room. So I snapped at him and I apologized and I feel really bad. And he feels bad that he walked in and we're
Yeah.
all feeling bad together.
Right. Yeah. There was one of the owners of the hotel came in the room and I'm like, sir, I'm sorry. Cause I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, don't come in this room
Owner
because
of the hotel?
yeah, I don't know if he was the owner or something, but there was a group of men running around and later it looked like they were either owners or investors or they were
Oh,
high up, maybe owners of the hotel. I'm assuming.
oh,
Because they were in that meeting. Because you remember we had our green room,
oh,
and
yes,
then
yes,
he was one of those guys in that
yes.
meeting, and I'm like, oh no. But
Oh,
he was cool about it, and I was being nice. I was just like, sir, we just because we like having a closed room, and we don't want the surprise spoiled. Um.
yeah.
So yeah.
So that was pretty much it. I mean, Friday was uneventful, just because we were just setting up and getting things ready. I can't thank Lewis enough. Not only does Lewis work hard, but he remembered exactly how things needed to be.
Yeah.
And he was just quietly like doing what needed to be done. And he had like a silent language with Mark.
Yeah.
And at one part, Mark was just like, "Are you sure you don't want to work with me? Because you'd make X amount of dollars and like we work so well together and Mark can do what he needs to do and he trusts that Lewis is doing what he needs to do and like it
Mhm.
just all came together and it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. No, Lewis was definitely him and Mark, like you said, they just know what they need to do.
And
And
then yeah,
well,
so then
before we do, but I don't want to get to puppetry art quite because we were trying to record the intro before. So we're watching the clock, record the intro. Or
oh
yeah, so that was probably that was to me because we were under the gun
yeah.
at that point, like bad under the gun. So we're trying to record this intro that Mark we'll talk about in a minute, and we're having audio problems, and I'm looking at the clock, and you're looking at the clock, and thankfully Shannon was at the hotel and was able to go get Moe's because it's like I had to leave by like 4:30, 4:45 at the latest to pick up Moe's to go to Puppetry Arts, and I'm getting texts from Mandy going, "What are we feeding people? When are we feeding people?" And I'm like, I've got a microphone on. I've got a hot mic. I'm in the middle of trying to do this. And, there's people making noise in the back of the room and they're getting quiet on set. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to get yelled at for having a phone in my hand or my phone making noise. So I had it on do not disturb. And thankfully we were able to get that done. And it turned out pretty cool, which we'll get into in a minute. But Puppetry Arts. Is that where we're going next?
Yep. I quickly jumped in the shower at like 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
changed, got down to the lobby and took a bunch of people. And so it was like David and his friend Andrew, Will Russ, Katie, Roger and Nick, and then Tony and I were sitting in the front seat
Yeah.
on our way to the Center of Puppetry Arts. We got there about 5:45. So we were not too early, but early enough. There was a line waiting of people, which was cool to see that people were excited to get in there. They so much so that they got there early. But there was a couple times when Nick and Roger were right behind us talking in the seats, and Tony and I would just look at each other like, did we just hear that? Like Nick was talking about doing the makeup on Terrence Stamp on Superman.
Mhm.
And Roger was talking about working on episode 1 with stunts and Ewan McGregor. And like I said, Tony and I would just look at each other like, wow, we just heard that. Like they were just retelling their stories of working on in film.
Yeah, that's awesome.
These historic films that we grew up on, and these gentlemen made them, and they're just talking in the back, like it's just work.
Yeah, it's just because that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that when we got to the Puppetry Arts, there was a line, and of course everybody's kind of waiting outside, and I just kind of like do me doing what I do. 'Cause I didn't know where you were at that point when because we got there a few minutes early. So I just kind of like, let's see what's going on if the doors are open because everybody, why is everybody hanging outside versus going inside in the lobby? Um, so of course everybody walks in there, and you had whose idea was the buttons? Was it your idea for the buttons?
So the buttons were my idea, in that to have like fan collector buttons that look like the old fun buttons. And I wanted to give everybody, like I did with the trading cards with the first one,
Yeah,
give everyone the same button and force them to trade and interact. And we're trying to do the ice breaking in advance. So by the time Saturday rolls around, everybody's friends again.
yeah,
Like, and we're forcing people to talk that they might not talk to each other. You might hang out with your friends or whatever, but if that person over there has the Space Girls button and you've never met them, and you go over there, hey, do you have Space Girls? You've started a conversation with that person. So by the time tomorrow rolls around, you've already talked to them.
yeah,
They're not part of your clique, but you've already talked to them, and you kind of broke down the social uh, anxiety or whatever. But so that part was my idea. Narayan's idea was to do it at the Center of Puppetry Arts, which I was kind of resistant against because I wanted people to enjoy themselves at the Center of Puppetry Arts
yeah.
and not have to do the swag. But I was wrong. Narayan was right that there was a buzz in that room. People were just having the time of their lives, trading buttons and
Yeah.
hanging out.
That was so cool. Yeah, because like you were saying Space Girls, because we had I don't know how those pins were set up in the box, but I ended up just dumping them on the table because I'm like, why are just let people grab? And I think
Yeah.
Space Girls were, I don't know where they were grouped, but I think it was at the bottom of the pile, so it got missed. So no, very few people had that, and people were looking for those. Uh,
And
yeah, but that was a great idea because like for the first half hour, they didn't care about food, they didn't care
yeah.
about drinks. They were just like pins. Let's get pins. Let's meet people and get what we need.
Yeah.
So that was a great idea and it worked really well.
And just to let people who didn't attend know what was going on, the Space Girls is the Tanaka sisters. We named all the pins as if they were made in the 70s before they had common names like the Tanaka sisters, Dr. Evazan. He was initially called Grubby Human.
Yeah.
So he had Grubby Human on there. It was Walrus Man, Hammerhead. It was not Ponda Baba or Momande Don. It was their original names from the 70s, as if that button collection had continued past the initial 12 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's that. And so yeah, that was the first hour. People were just trading buttons and having the time of their lives. And then they went to the museum. I think one of the best compliments I got was from Steve that night. He was just like, "This is so much fun. I haven't had this much fun trading in a long time."
Yeah.
So we provide them with the thing and they trade and have fun. So
Yeah. No, it
that
was
worked.
yeah, it was a fun time. That and Puppetry Arts. I mean, I wasn't into the Muppets, but like I was into Fraggle Rock. So seeing Fraggle Rock was cool. You don't realize what we have in that place in Atlanta because there's a bunch of museums here that we don't realize what they're what's available.
Yeah.
And I really think if we do another one and don't include the Puppetry Arts, people are going to be upset because I think we set the bar. It's like, and everybody
Yeah.
was like, "How did you get this place?" And I'm like, "I think we just sent an email."
Yeah. Yeah. They gave me a price and I was like, per hour? They're like, no, for the night. I'm like, yep. Send me that contract.
Right. So and you saw a lot of pictures of people, later on. I missed Slimer, which I was kind of a little upset about, but I don't know where he was hanging out. I must have
He was on the other
there was,
side.
huh?
He was on the other side in the international set part.
Okay. In the
There's
main,
one.
okay.
Yeah, when you would walk into that first room, you go to the left and there's all the Muppets, the Jim Henson stuff. You go to the right and it's cultural.
Okay.
So they also had the Pinocchio from the Netflix movie with Guillermo del Toro directed. They had
I
Pokey from Gumby.
I think I might have seen all that, but it was one I might have seen that room, but I don't remember it. But there was a lot of you turn around and you're like, oh, there's all the Fraggle Rock stuff. I walked
Yeah,
right by it because I'm looking over here.
yeah.
Uh, so it
So
was it, huh?
oh, go ahead.
No, it was a fun night. They were very welcoming there, which that whole weekend, even the hotel was very, everybody was just, what do you need? Bending over backwards for us. Um, so
So
that
when
was
I
cool.
I first got to the Center of Puppetry Arts, the food was out, people were trading, everyone was kind of like distracted by the trading.
Yeah.
So it was just Shannon and myself real quick, and I just decided to run through and see Kermit. And I had a Glenn moment. I started to get teary-eyed because it was like after all this time prepping and getting things going, we're going and things are working, and it was just a moment of relief. And I just saw my old friend and got teary-eyed. And Shannon's like, "Let me take your photo." I'm like, "No, not right now. I can't. I can't. I need to readjust myself. I need to recompose myself."
Oh, you could have had a photo with you crying with Kermit. It'd have been fine, Jason.
And then at the end of the night, when everybody had left, I had to say goodbye to him. So I think David was with me, and we just ran back and said goodbye to Kermie.
Yeah,
And went
yeah.
home.
It's funny because like the whole night they're playing Star Wars music,
Yeah.
and you hear the Star Wars music, and then like all of a sudden How to Train Your Dragon came on. I was like a little kid again. I'm like,
Of
hey,
all of all music,
I'm like, they're playing Dragon. They're playing Dragon.
they ran out at the end of that playlist, and it continued, and it was like Dragon. But
I
that
was
was a
like,
nice touch. I didn't ask for that. They just on their own did that. And if you looked at the sign for the price of beer and soda,
mhm.
they put like BB-8 and Chewbacca on their sign.
Yeah,
There's a couple nice touches that they did.
yeah, because everybody, if they were wearing Star Wars shirts and they were leaning into it pretty hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, I my vote is yes to do that again because now they were like because you they had done the Kermit sign from the headquarters and
Yes.
they were showing pic. Everybody's like, "Where's Kermit? Where's Kermit? Where's that sign?" And I'm like, "They're still restoring it." And I was like, "It's huge." And they posted a video like 2 days ago with the sign and somebody standing next to it, and it dwarfs the person standing next to it.
Yeah, it's 14 feet tall.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to go on top of the building somewhere. They got to get an architect to structurally support the statue. It's all metal. They also have Globy from the first season of Pee-wee's Playhouse that's going to premiere in a couple weeks.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, there's reason to go back. I'm open to whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. So then after Puppetry Arts, everybody goes hang out at the hotel lobby for a couple hours. So that was fun. And everybody was kind of watching David because every time he'd go in his backpack, and there'd be like everybody'd stop and be like, is he gonna pull something out?
Yeah.
Um, so there wasn't no lobby swap that night, but it was Tony's birthday, so we'd gotten him a cake and just surprised him with it. And it's funny because the whole night we're trying to keep it secret from him. And my wife, I come down and she's talking to Tony, and the cake's right there, and he just is oblivious to it because because we got it from Nothing Bundt Cake, and after he ate it, he was like, "Did somebody make this?" And we're like, "No, it's Nothing Bundt Cake." And he's like, "Excuse me? People are selling Bundt cakes?" So he would have
Oh,
never gotten it anyway.
another funny thing happened on the way back from the Center of Puppetry Arts. Narayan took Roger and Nick back early because they were getting tired. So he was kind enough to leave like I think it was just about 9:15-ish, and the party
Mhm.
was over at 10. He took him back to the hotel. So I had everybody as before, but without Roger and Nick, and we are driving back and I was like, "Oh, by the way, happy birthday, Tony." He's like, "Thanks." I was like, "How old are you?" 55, double nickel. And everybody in the car started laughing because I guess Tony was trying to make some sort of double nickel joke throughout the day, and nobody was like taking the bait. And so on my own, I was just like 55 double nickel, and they were like, "Oh, finally!" And Tony's like, "You made my night."
Yeah, you could tell it meant a lot to him.
Good.
Yeah, so we had
I was like,
Jim.
what was I doing? I went
You
back
were
into the
helping
room.
Mark.
Yeah, we got Ryan Lewis came down to record some stuff, and he offered to be just have a camera in the room.
Uh-huh.
So I introduced Ryan to Mark, and they patched things together with their cameras and such. And so that was happening. So I was busy there, and then it was like close to midnight, and I decided just I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, I don't know what time the night wrapped up, but I think it was either one or two, but I was able look because I had the room. I was like, I can hang out another half an hour. I was in no rush to go to bed. I was in a rush to go to bed because I had to be up early on Saturday, but no, yeah, everybody was just hanging out. I think Jerry, I don't know the lobby swap. Yeah, so like Jerry was there, his friend Shay was there, so people were like, "Have a beer, let's hang out," and I was like, "Okay." And so
You'll have a whole new appreciation at May the North where you have to do nothing and other
yeah,
people are running these shows. You know how much work goes into it, so you're going to appreciate the effort and you're going to
mhm,
really appreciate what they do,
right.
but you're also going to enjoy nothing. I'm out.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
just sitting here.
Toby kept telling me all weekend. He goes, "You know what I love the most about this weekend? Not having to do a damn thing."
That's what Chris G said too, because he does the collecting track for Celebration, which
Y-
is basically the same thing.
Right.
So he's got to order all the star tots or whatever the equivalent is that they're doing and organizing things and schedules and stuff. So when he goes to these kinds of shows, he's able to just sit back and enjoy himself.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking for. I really am looking forward to going to May of the North because like you said, we're going to get to hang out with our friends and not have to worry about a doggone thing the
Yeah.
whole weekend.
But Saturday rolls around and it was just fine tuning and putting things in place. Mark's computer, I think, had a malfunction the night before. So he was busy not only setting the room up with his equipment, but also editing that show. I think he was editing it at 12 o'clock, 12:30, and the doors were supposed to open at 1.
Yeah, he was. We're
It was down
pushing
to the
it pretty
wire.
hard, huh?
It was down to the wire.
It was down to the wire because there yet again I had to go back to Guitar Center to get a cable, and then of course they don't open until like 11. So I was like, oh, I had to deal with that. And then I'm dealing with yet again, the debit card was denied for pizza. So I'm having to deal with that and then go
Yep.
get pizza. And I'm like, I'm looking at the time and I'm doing the math and I'm like, maybe I can do both at once. And then I was like, let me run grab the cable because I don't want to make Mark mad because it took
Yeah.
me too long to get the cable. So I call you and I'm like, dude, come meet me at the back door. I threw the cable at you and I'm like, I'm going to get pizza.
Yeah.
um, so I had a lot of running around, but I kind of knew, and I felt bad because I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck doing all these go for errands and I'm not in the room doing the thing, but I also, I'm like, what in my mind, I got to be like, what I'm doing is just as important as being in the room
Yes.
because I'm supporting it and I may be getting in the way in the room. You know what I mean? And I'm
No,
just,
it needs to happen.
yeah.
Someone
And
has to do it. And it's not that you're not in the room and we've kicked you out. It's like that was probably the most important thing because if you don't have sound, you don't have a show.
right. So,
So it was a vital thing that had to be done.
yeah, no. And it was, and it was,
We didn't trust it to anybody else but you because we knew you would do it.
because I also know, yeah, yeah.
You also
So
know
it was,
sound.
I know sound that Mark can talk to me and be like, "This is what I need," and I understand what he's saying. And while you're probably the only other person in there that would semi understand, or I don't
Nope.
know if you don't know cables and stuff. No,
Nope. I know
um,
like it's the red, white, yellow one.
RCA cables, buddy. Oh, that's so
XLRs.
old.
There's
That's
XLRs.
so old.
XLRs.
Um,
HDMIs.
yeah. So because yeah, that we had a trouble with the stuff we rented from Guitar Center. One of the speakers wasn't working, so we had to figure out how to patch that in and make it work. And thankfully, when I went to Guitar Center on Sunday, they comped the rental because they were just like, yeah, I've been telling people for 10 years we need to work on this stuff, and I'm like, this stuff isn't 10 years old. This is looked like it's new stuff or
Yeah.
fairly new stuff. Um, so we've learned some lessons. I think it's like each time we do it, there's more lessons to be learned. But oh my God, the swag.
So 1 o'clock
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
rolls around and we don't open the doors. We were about 15 minutes delayed. We finally get the doors open. I ran up, showered real quick around 12:45 and
Yeah, and I'm looking because Mark gives me the go ahead to open doors.
I
And
had to
I'm
confirm with you.
right. And I'm like, okay, you're giving me permission to open the doors. And so I'm like running to find you. I'm running to find Ryan. And because I wanted all three of us to be there. I didn't want to do it without the three of us. And I guess you're coming, you're coming back down from your shower, and you're like, dude, is it okay? And I'm like, yes. Mark
You
confirmed.
sure Mark said this?
Yes, Mark said it. I go, dude, are you ready? He goes, no, but it's time. He was just like, am I ready or am I ready? He's like, yes, I'm ready, but no, I'm not ready. Um, so it was like, it would there were I'd kind of got the I was like, okay, I want to make sure that I got the okay to from you two to do it, because I already got the green light for Mark. It was sort of like the same thing we did last week with the checklist. It was like,
Yeah.
go, Mark gave me his thumbs, and I needed your two, go to do it. And yeah, that was fun. Just and watching it, and I tried to took your cue to just walk backwards into the room and just watch, because at that time when I had the green light, Rich had heard that, okay, and then he was like, well, let me get everybody seated, which, let's claim, get all the guests to have good seats before they get claimed. So we were able to get, Steve in and get all of our guests in before the mad rush of people. So that was nice to do. And that there again, having a team, you don't think about that kind of stuff. You're just like, we're 15 minutes late, and
Yeah.
I'm just having horror stories from last year, us running behind, and I'm like, let's get this going. And no, that was at 115 doors.
I thought the way we did the entrance for the lightsaber entrance, that was Ryan's idea for
Yeah.
guests, was really well received. It made it a little bit more elevated. Like these are special guests that we all had come, our presenters.
Yeah, I know it. I think it worked out very well, and you could tell they enjoyed it. I I don't want to say surprised is the wrong term, but I was surprised how well it was received and how well it went,
Mhm.
because that's something that could go cheesy real fast, and it didn't.
No, it was nice and sweet. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
Everyone came in the room and then we started things off. What did you think about the three questions, getting to know people outside of their focus stuff?
They really don't know us, do they?
No.
It was a fun little icebreaker, I thought. There again, it was another icebreaker. And I thought Mark did I didn't realize he was going to do a whole, that whole spiel that he, like the
Yeah. The
roast,
welcome.
do a mini roast of
Yeah.
everybody. But yeah, the three questions was fun. The It was a fun little way to start everything, and start everything on a funny beat.
Hmm. Um, I just wish, so the first panel starts with the Kenner guys. I just wish I heard a little bit more from Alton.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to hear more about his experience. Apparently, he's an amazing designer. I've got a couple. I've got one of his sketches that he signed. It's a
Yeah.
print of the sketch, but he's incredibly talented. He was telling me with the General Grievous Hot Wheels car that he just made a quick sketch of what it could look like, and Hot Wheels was like, "Okay, go."
Yeah.
It was like no red tape or anything. It was just go.
Yeah, because I was hanging out with him backstage while because we did a video, and while you guys were checking the video, Mark wanted a clean room, so everybody was kind of waiting to get the okay to go back into the room, and him and I were talking, and then of course I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a big Bill and Ted guy. He goes, oh yeah, I worked on that line,
Yeah.
and then I had some pictures, and well, they were shared in the room, so I had some early shots of the stuff that was on the thing, and he's like, oh yeah, those are mine, and I was just like, holy smokes. So that, it was a cool
A nice
moment to
connective
talk to.
moment.
Yeah. It's cool to meet the designers it's cool to meet Star Wars designers, but then when you see that they worked on other things, like something that, a bigger part of your life, it's like, oh, this is even cooler.
Yeah.
um Anyway, where were we at? But yeah, I would love to hear back from Alton, to hear that stuff. It feels like we could have like a 2 hour panel from
Oh,
some of
we
these
could have.
people.
Yeah, Toby was saying we could have had a 2 hour panel with Roger Christian. He
Yeah,
only talked about Star Wars. He didn't talk about his work on Return of the Jedi or the Phantom Menace.
right. So it's like
People don't get there because he's just so busy talking about the original.
right. And it's like you could legitimately um have these people back, and they could talk about totally different things, and you'd still have people show up because they
Yeah.
want to know. I think we've done a really good job of finding guests that haven't been to shows before. Like these are their first shows that they do, first conventions. And they're like, holy smokes, people really want to, they don't understand that we're craving this information
Hmm.
from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Roger's panel was great. Jerry did an amazing job. We had some extra time, so I'm glad we had some extra time. So they were able to, Roger and Nick kind of went over, but we had the time built in. So it all worked out. And I'm a scheduler, so that's why I bring it up. Other than that, I mean, the content was phenomenal. They were talking
Yeah.
about their time in Star Wars, and Nick was just going through like, this is the person I worked with. This is the first makeup I did. Pipe smoker man, and I did this and that, and it was just mind blowing to hear all these stories about what was going on during the original movie.
Right. And then like the thing I found like most fascinating because I find it they go one way and then they pivot. So like Greedo's hands were not supposed to be his hands. They were supposed to be long fingered gloves, and they couldn't make the gloves work out. So then it turned out they just used the hands
Yeah.
without the gloves.
Hmm.
And I that was that on Rogers?
That
Or
was
no, it
Nick.
was Nick. Okay, because there
Yeah.
was just so much information going on, and by the time we were able to sit down and, or at least myself, it's information overload, and you're just like everything catches up with you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole weekend catches up with you real fast,
Yeah.
and because you're in a dark room and you're comfortable, and nothing against the panels, but physically and emotionally you're drained while you're listening to these people.
Yeah. So I thought those panels went great.
Yeah.
I'm glad our guests were able to experience them. It was, back to back, like the creation of Star Wars, creation of the action figures. So a lot of good content there. And then we broke for dinner.
Yeah.
So dinner was, I'll say, better than anticipated. And maybe I was just so tired and exhausted that anything at that point would have tasted great. But I thought the food, the chicken parm, the vegetarian lasagna, I thought it was just all wonderful,
Right.
personally.
Yeah, I'm not a vegetable person, so I didn't. I should. You challenged me, and I lost. But I didn't have the vegetable lasagna, but I was surprised that they had potatoes.
Hmm.
To kind of level things off. Uh, but yeah, I was happy with the food. Everybody, I didn't hear a bad thing about it. The chicken parm was really good. The tiramisu was good. I was like, yeah, this is legit.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then it was time for the auction.
oh, how deep in the weeds do you want to get with this?
Not deep. I mean, it's
Not
already an
deep.
hour and 15, and I've got a story there. I was busy during the
Oh
auction
yeah,
myself.
we do have that story to tell. So yeah, but I was running the auction and it was going really, really well. It, until we got to one patch set.
Is it cut or uncut?
Cut or uncut. And it I have a list, and it wasn't explained on the list that hey, we're gonna auction these off separately. I just think it's one big auction, one big item. And Narayan was helping with the auction because he had organized everything, and he was showing the items off. Him and Jordan were helping show the items off, and he's just like, "This is an auction for two items," and I'm like, "No, it's an auction for one item." And then it was a patch set that was a cut set and an uncut set, and we
Wait,
didn't
is it cut
communicate
or
very
uncut?
well.
I'm not sure.
Right. It was like cut or uncut. And I'm just like, we're going to sell all of them together. And Ryan's like, no, we got to do two different auctions. And I'm like, why are we having this conversation right now? This is a conversation that should have happened a week ago. And I was just like, go for it. And he's just like, no, it has to be done this way. And I'm like, no, pivot. We'll just sell them all. And I'm like auctioning them off. And then it turns out everybody's like, wait a minute. What are we doing? And then we had to start everything over again, and it Mark was playing the Cantina theme. It was just like Mark, everything was just. Thankfully, we were able to get it back on track, and the next day, all I heard was cut or uncut.
Cut or uncut? Is it cut or uncut?
So that's gonna be a new meme, and it's bad when Steve Sansweet looks at you and goes, "Cut or uncut."
Yeah,
You know that thing is gonna live on
it's gonna
when
live
Steve
on.
Sansweet looks at you and tells you that.
Yeah, there could be worse things to be remembered for.
Right. But we were able to make it fun and it's memorable and it didn't crash the rest of the night. You know, we were able to pull
Yeah.
through it.
So in the middle of all of that chaos, Jerry comes running up to me because I'm sitting up front next to Mark, and Jerry comes up to me and like it's dinner time, so I've had like a Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
It's like Mark scolded me. He's like, "No, dude, you don't do that until after the show," which makes sense. Yeah, I'm
Right.
working. I shouldn't have done that. But anyways, I had it. And it's feeling a little loose, a little like celebratory, like, yeah, we did it. We got one panel left, and the auction's rolling and we're gonna be fine. And Jerry comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, there's somebody trying to get into the room." I'm like, "What?" So I get up, then I go to the main entrance, and there's this guy there with a drink. He's like, "I love Star Wars, man. I just want to bid on something." I'm like, "No, sir, this is only for guest ticket holders. It's a closed event. I'm sorry, you can't participate." He's like, "But I love Star Wars, man. Just let me help support charity." I'm like, "No, sir, we can't do that." So I finally get him backed out of the room. And I don't really use my size. Like people call me a gentle giant, whatever, but I don't use my size to intimidate people. And to be honest, I don't think of myself as big as I am. I kind of see myself as a smaller guy.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm still 13 years old as a little kid, and I'm not seeing my size as I am today as a 46-year-old.
Right.
But in that moment, I did, I was a wall. Like, you're not coming in this room kind of
Right.
thing. And so he backed out. He's like, "All right, whatever." So I popped my head out. And the other door where Mark is, that door that said not an exit,
Right.
we're purpose because there's cords in front of that door. So we don't want people coming in and out. So I just pop my head out and I see that there's another guy. And this guy is not drunk, but he's just as obnoxious.
Yeah.
He's like, "I just want to know about future events. How do I know about future events?" I'm like, "You go on Facebook, you look up the Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors. We post all our information there. Have a nice night." "Oh, what do I do?" So I'm like, "You just search for Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors." And then the hotel guy's like, "This is a private event. You need to leave." He's like, "I'm just trying to get information." Like he's trying to pretend it's so simple. I'm innocent. I'm just trying to get information. He didn't say that, but that's
Right.
his attitude. And so I see Dan Lowe, and Dan starts coming my way. I'm like, "Dan, can you help this gentleman get him the Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors?" Shannon was there at the registration table, so she's watching
Yeah,
what's
because
going on.
it was my Shannon, Mandy, and Lindsay. So it was
Yeah.
three ladies having to deal with this guy.
And Shannon said that Dan was incredibly helpful and firm.
Right.
And it was when I walked away that I realized I had just sent in the Marines on this
Yeah.
guy. He didn't know what he was dealing with.
Right. Because he's kind of, you look at Dan and he's just not a goofy guy. Dan can get crazy and Dan can have some fun. And
He can have
Dan
fun.
is a ball of energy is the best way to describe Dan. But I'm assuming with him being an ex-Marine, he can snap into it real fast if he had to.
Yeah, and he does it in the kindest way. And he was helping the guy at the same time. I saw the hotel security. I don't know if he worked. He's not security, but he was a big dude. He could have been a bouncer.
Yeah.
And they were just like waiting for Dan to help the guy, and then they were going to kick him out.
Right.
And so I started walking back into the room. I had confidence that between hotel staff and Dan that the situation was handled. And I'm walking back and I see Tom Boone just kind of hanging out on the droid detector, just watching the situation. And I remembered his swag from the last one, and I'm like, "Oh, he's a police officer."
Right.
Tom is watching the situation to see if it escalates and if he needs to go in and bring people down. So I was very thankful for Tom to be there, thankful for Dan to step in. So we had a police officer, a DC police officer, and a Marine there to help us. So it was not a problem. They quickly walked away, and the situation was over. Shannon was really upset because at one point the guy was like, "These kids have come from a bad home, and I'm there for them." And she's like, "You're drunk, and you're the chaperone. What are you doing?" She wanted to
Well,
report him.
well, so there was a bunch of baseball players there for a tournament or something in the
Kid
hotel
players,
with
kid
us.
players,
Kid players, like yeah,
little leagueish.
little league players there. So that always makes it fun when you have a oddball group, not an oddball group, but a different uh, part of the society. That's what not society, but different
This
people.
is a
Not
traveling baseball team, and so
traveling
they had the
baseball.
coach and the chaperone, and they were being
Yeah,
obnoxious, and they should have been watching the kids and not getting drunk.
right.
So that happened. And then room sales happened
Yeah,
after
I thought
Stephen
that
Duncan's panel.
the room after, yeah, never mind. Let's talk about Duncan and Steve's panel.
That was great.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of like, what do we do next? And trying to explain the silent auctions and stuff. So we had to kind of pivot to help facilitate closing the room for a half hour so we can clean up and get the room ready for room sales, but also to extend the silent auction, which I'm glad we did because it ended up raising $12,000 total, but the heads and the droids raised $6,000, which I think moving everything out and giving people one last opportunity. You got 30 minutes, get your last bids in, really helped facilitate getting the
Oh
extra
yeah.
money. But
Yeah, no, that room, closing the room for a half an hour from room sales and moving everything out and being like, this is where it's at, worked so much better than last year
yep,
or last Rogue Fund. That was a great idea. And when we had tons of people helping us get the room ready.
yep.
So that was awesome too. I love it when people are like, hey, what do you need? And just helping somebody move chairs, and you have 30 people moving chairs takes a lot less than two people moving chairs.
So we got that done, and then room sales ended. We had the room until about 1, but I think it wound itself down around midnight.
Yeah.
And so we just started to gently, and we could talk about what we picked up in a minute. We started to like gently take things down and just like, we'll take care of it tomorrow. And Mark's like, nope, do it now.
Yeah, Mark and Lewis were just like, nope, let's just get it done. And I look at Lewis at one point and was just like, right now I hate you, but tomorrow morning I love you.
Yeah, I woke up Sunday morning. I was like, I can't lift the TV. So I'm glad we worked until 2:30 in the morning to bring everything down, load it in the truck, get it over with. One less thing to worry about.
Yeah.
So that worked out well. Everything was packed up. The room was done. We had set up a set for Roger and Nick. So part of the agreement of them coming, because normally they get compensated and we're a boutique convention, we can't do that,
Right.
was providing them with a room and time to interview each other. So we made sure we got that set up. And then we went to Dave and Buster's, which was nice because Shannon and I had a little table date. So we were
Oh,
welcoming everybody, giving them information, and just hanging out for a couple hours.
yeah, I know Dave and Buster's was a lot of fun. Yeah, I do have a a shoot. No, I do have a little, well, should I even say it? No, so as we're getting ready to go to Dave and Buster's, I'm just blindly checking it just I'm mush at that by the time we're trying to get to Dave and Buster's, because Mandy I had my car loaded full of stuff, and we were going to take Lindsay and Joel to Dave and Buster's, and I was like, let's get in the car, y'all just drive us Dave and Buster's and then we'll drive back. So as we're doing that, I'm flipping through Facebook, and somebody had posted that a coyote had gotten a cat in our
Oh
neighborhood,
yeah, yeah.
and from from what I saw, it kind of looked like one of our cats. And I just went, Mandy, have you seen the cat? And she was just like, what do you mean? And I show her the picture, and she loses it. And I felt really bad because, and she's like, why wouldn't you wait to show me this? And I'm just like, my mind is mush at this point.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it ended up not being our cat, because we were talking and she was like, I was holding him last night. And I was like, wait a minute, you got home at like 1:30. She was like, yeah. I said, you're fine. It's not our cat. So thankfully, we were able to confirm it wasn't our cat. But I know everybody that was like, I know Jerry was standing right there and was just like, what's going on? Um, so thankfully, it wasn't our cat. So he was here when we got back. So that was my oh crap moment of the whole event, when that was probably and thankfully, I mean, not thankfully, but it's like the only thing really got that I messed up was telling my wife that I thought her cat got killed by a coyote.
The only time I messed up, so Robin reached out to us from the UK and said, "Hey, my partner's birthday is on the 3rd. Can you guys arrange to have an American, what was it, the red velvet cake?"
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we'll take care of that." And so I think it was either before, it was daytime. I think it was before the Center of Puppetry Arts. He came up to me. He's like, "Hey, is I love his voice. Hey, is the thing taking care of you?"
Yes.
That's my Robin voice. I love the way he talks. And so I'm like, "Yeah, we got the cake for." I'm like, "Oh wait, I see David's like right over his shoulder,
Uh-huh.
and I'm afraid he might have heard me."
Hmm.
So I had to quickly like pivot, and I was like, yeah, we've done the thing. And he's like, yeah, like we were just goofing around for a minute, and so he's like, how much do I owe you? I'm like, you came from the UK, we've got this covered. Don't
Right.
don't don't worry about the cake, it's fine. So that was my only faux pas, was not realizing that his partner was right there,
Right.
and I might have spoiled the surprise before the surprise. I don't think it was
No,
spoiled.
and yeah, because he had come up to me a couple of times and was just like, "We're good." I'm like, "Yes, we're good." Um,
I missed
David
his
did, and
speech
or
at
Robin did.
David
What
Buster's. I missed his speech at David Buster's.
he was just. They were basically. He was just so happy to that we were so welcoming, and that he was just like, I came here not really knowing anybody, but I'm going home with friends."
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, it I was kind of not upset, but I felt bad that you missed that. I was trying. I don't know if because I don't know if I communicated it at the time that I was getting ready to do it, or you were just like, do it, do it, do it. And I'm like, give me 2 seconds to decompress, and then we'll get it done. At least get some food on my plate and have a bite of
Yeah.
food in my mouth, and then we'll get it done. So, um, anyway, we had done that, and he was David was just so happy. It you could tell it really meant a lot to him because nobody was expecting it. Um, it's the same way, and I just did it both. And I both when I did Tony's birthday cake and when I was fortunate enough to get to do those, and it was just like we have a birthday, and then of course David was just like tears, just so happy that we thought of him. Um, and yeah, everybody was ecstatic. You
Everybody was, yeah, everybody was hanging out Saturday night, 2:30 in the morning. We had just finished loading the truck, and I literally started feeling dizzy.
Yeah.
I was just exhaustion, so I had to go to bed. And then Sunday, it was about I had the room until about 1, so it was about noon. I had some food in my stomach, and I was starting to feel dizzy again. And I was like, I just need to go home and rest and crash.
Yeah.
So I did my rounds. I said goodbye to everyone, thinking that this was it. This was goodbye. And I realized that Nick and Roger, we needed to take down the backdrop and see if they're okay. So I get to the hotel to check in on them, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just hungry." I'm like, "Oh, it's not over yet." I was like, "If you guys want lunch, I'd be more than happy to take you."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, that'd be great. Something light. We'll do it at whatever, 2:15 or whatever." And so we hung out for a little bit, took down the backdrop, and then Shannon and I, we were and David Quinn just happened to be there in the lobby. I was like, "Do you want to go with us to lunch?" And I was expecting to let Nick and Roger, hang out one last time because they hadn't seen each other in a long time, and they're about to go separate ways again. Who knows if they'll have the opportunity to connect again?
Mm,
And so maybe that David, Shannon, and I can eat lunch and kind of hang up while they ate lunch and catched up,
right.
caught up. Then we get to Mellow Mushroom, which was whatever they decided. And I was like, "Do you guys want to hang out together and catch up one last time, or do you want to eat as a group?" And they're like, "No, let's eat as a group." I don't have the energy to be an extrovert, but we uh we did it. We sat down as one big group. They ordered their food. I did not want to ask him Star Wars questions. I wanted to ask him other questions because it was a weekend of Star Wars stuff. They were talking about at the Center of Puppetry Arts. They were talking about on the way there. People were asking them questions at my place. I just felt like they needed a break. So I was asking them, why did you choose Toronto? Why did you choose the Caribbean? And how is it working with cruise ships and stuff like that? So I was just asking him a million questions. And we were talking like Roger was very into Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna watch that because it got a rave review from him.
You would
And
think
so
with the hats I wear, I'd be into Peaky Blinders, but
yeah, it seems like right up your alley, but maybe you'd be like, "Oh, dude, I look better in a hat." Oh, just shit.
I need to check them out because I have heard nothing but good things about that show. So
So the conversation was going well. I spoke to David about this afterwards, and there was a couple times I looked at him. He was being very quiet.
mm,
I'm like, is David starstruck right now? It doesn't make sense because I mean, he worked at MTV. He knows
mhm.
he's dealt with people of celebrity before. It just didn't make sense. But afterwards, he was like, "No, it seemed like you were having such a good conversation. I didn't want to take that away from you." And I was just like, I would have appreciated some
Some
backup.
help.
some backup.
David's that kind of person, though. He's sort of like me. It's like you hang back until you have something to say.
Yeah.
You know, or if you don't have anything to add to the conversation, you just kind of sit back and enjoy.
At one point, I was going to tease David during the lunch because I asked them, they worked with Al Guinness.
Oh,
And how many
yeah.
times are you at a dinner table asking someone, so what was it like to work with Al Guinness? And that was the attraction to them, was working with Alec Guinness in Star Wars because Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, George Lucas, these were not names. Alec
Right.
Guinness was the name. So to be in the cantina with Alec Guinness was like, that was the thing for them.
Yeah.
That was the thing that really blew their minds. And so I asked Roger at some point, what did you think about Ewan McGregor because he worked in episode 1. So he worked with both Obi-Wans.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what did you think of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi? And so he went into it and he was like, it was a different kind of Obi-Wan. You can't really replace Alec Guinness. That's a tall order.
Mm.
But it's a different kind of younger Obi-Wan. So it worked. And then I said something like, you worked with the two best Obi-Wans. And I kind of looked at David Quinn and wanted to be like, that's all that matters, because I know how much he loves the Clone Wars and James Arnold Taylor's version of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
But I didn't really go there. I didn't press it. But I looked at him kind of like, the only two that matter kind of thing. Just pressing the button. Kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, no, shoot. We kind of jumped ahead a lot, but no, Dave and Buster's was fun. It was fun watching like all these high-end Star Wars collectors like let go and play video games. Because you're walking around and there's Duncan Jenkins playing a video game with his wife, and all these people are just having fun.
Yeah.
Steve Sansweet's playing video games, and
Yeah.
everybody that we've spent the last 2 days with is just having fun one last time. I had I was messing with your wife a little bit because I was like, Mrs. W, because she's a teacher. Hey, do it, kind of playing a little kid, and she was playing right along. And do I get tickets? And she's like, yes, you get tickets. So I had gotten like 810 tickets. I was like, man, I'm gonna get me something good.
You get a pencil sharpener?
Yeah, it was like a pencil sharpener. So as I'm walking out of the thing, I just hand my card to Katie. I'm like, there's 810 tickets on it. Have fun. I can't win anything good. Tony actually got like these. He went in there and bought like a bunch of little cheap toys and was just handing them out to people. He was like, here's swag. I made my own swag. So yeah, that was cool. And Mandy was sort of like, had been talking to people, and she was like, well, why don't you come over to our house? Well, give us some time. We'll go home. We'll decompress, get it cleaned up. Come on over. And as she's doing that, Steve Sansweet walks up to her and goes, I heard you were going to open your house for tours. And she was like, of course. So it ended up that everybody we invited ended up going to dinner, so they didn't make it. But it was cool because we had Steve Sansweet, Billy Galaxy, and David Quinn chilling at our house. It's
Don't
like,
forget about me and Rich.
and you showed up. You and Shannon
who cares
showed up.
about those guys? The
Yeah,
authors
it's just
of an
Jason. I was surprised
book.
you guys were able to make, not surprised, but I was glad because I thought you guys were toast.
I was toast, and I was ready to call it quits. Especially after I remembered that I left the pipe and drape and the backdrop at the hotel. I had to run back and get that.
Yeah. That's
So
something.
that's why I had to leave early.
Yeah, that's something we got to work on next time. You got too much on your plate, but that's a story for another day. Conversation for another day. So, yeah, you're like so we were showing Steve the collection and everything, and he just was like, okay, I'm tired. I'm going to go upstairs and sit down. So I come upstairs and he's petting my dog on my couch. And it's just like, that's freaking Steve Sansweet on my couch, petting my dog, and, we just talked. We sat there for about an hour. The four of us were talking, and Rich was there too. I just don't. I got to mention Rich, because he was helping Steve, so he was there hanging out, and we start Googling stuff. I don't know what we were talking about, but Mandy's Googling things, and she's like, "Did you guys work with a company called Blue Milk?" And I just went, "Yeah, that guy's a real jerk," and everybody jumped in on it. And they were just like, yeah, that guy, I don't know why would we deal with that guy? He's just a jerk, kind of playing it on. And then Rich goes, that's my company. I mean, it was just like, oh my God.
What was Mandy talking about?
She had Googled the club. I don't remember what had happened or what she was Googling, but I think she was Googling tickets. And then when she Googled Rogue Fun tickets, it came up to the Blue Milk.
Oh,
Uh, and then that's when she was just like, who's Blue Milk?
oh, I see.
And it was just a fun moment to kind of end the day on. Um, and then as we were talking, I'm seeing my notes. These are things that we talked about that I think we need to put a pin on and talk about later on when we come back.
Okay.
But Steve brought this up. Should we have two versions of Star Wars? Should we? Because we were like, why should George be the one to tell us what Star Wars we should watch? Because with him doing the special editions, because he's like, everybody that's done special editions or director's cut, you have the original and you have the director's cut, and they're both available to view. So that's something we can get into. And then it was like, that was part of a conversation. And then they were like, what made you mad the most? The biggest change. So, I mean, those were the conversations we were having in my living room with everybody as the weekend kind of ended. And then as we were, as everybody was leaving, me and David were able to go outside and have a chat while he was leaving. And then it got to the point where I look at my watch and it was 8 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, I've got to walk back in my house because we will stand here all night talking.
Yeah.
And then that was just a perfect way to end the Rogue Fun weekend for me. And he got David, as he always does. He always has the right words to say that you need to hear, and got me hyped up for the next chapter of the club and the next chapter of whatever we decide to do. So yeah, no, it went by so fast, and I was so exhausted by the end of it because I did feel it was more organized, but we did so much more work this go round. Because Jordan was even like, dude, I've done more work. Like at 11 o'clock, he's like, I've done so much more work at this go round than I did the last go round. Because I think we were so much better organized. As far as volunteers went, we had chose our volunteer. We were not more selective, but we had less volunteers or smaller group of volunteers, but we divided the work better, because last time we had volunteers just kind of sitting around going, what do I need to do? And we were like, I don't know.
Yeah, we got it done.
Yeah, no. I'm saying we did it I think we did it the right way. But wow, the amount of swag, man. Do you want to talk swag real quick?
Sure.
That was insane. Everybody, I mean, I got the little, did you get one of these?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Death
Star with arms and legs.
Yeah, an orange 3D printed Death Star with arms and legs, like a little shelf sitter that Tony had made. She always puts out good swag. She's like, I just thought about this too late. She only brought like 10 of them or 20 of them, very, very limited number of swag pieces.
Yeah.
And then that book you made was
Tales of Scum and Villainy, which has all been claimed at this point.
I haven't got into it yet because I'm reading Project Hail Mary, and that book is just, has got me such a good book. So I'm just like drawn to that book every night, but I need to read it.
Yeah.
And I thought the only thing you did wrong is you should have done a chase. Like when you get all the authors signed, you should have been like, here's a bookmark or something. But you had so much stuff on your plate that, you know what I mean? Or somebody should have thought of it. But I think that was the only ball.
We did. We just ran out of time. Like I was putting this thing together in March.
Yeah.
For an event that was happening at the end of April. There was very little time, and it's amazing that the book even got done.
Right. So that was awesome. And then is it Charmaine? Is that their name? Did the Death Star Carlene. I had the C right.
Yes.
She did a framed Death Star plan. I guess they were 3D printed or something, but they light up, and she had like a cart full of them. Just here you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, the swag was on swag was on point this year. Just
I had an
amazing.
issue Monday on May 4th. I was dead all day May 4th. I forgot that I had tickets to go see that early screening of Mando and Grogu. They were doing
Yeah.
like the advanced screening of like the first 20 minutes or something like that. I completely forgot that I even had tickets for that. So that's the kind of Monday I had, but I forgot where I put all my swag on Thursday. People were
Oh.
handing me things and I was putting it in a safe space, but I could not remember for the life of me where it was. And I finally clicked after about an hour of searching where this stuff was. It
And
was
where what was it? But you
uh
found it.
it was in my garage. It's on a I had a old bookshelf that my daughter's going to take to her new apartment, but in the top there's like a little, for lack of a better term, a bowl where you can things kind of sink into the top of
Yeah.
it. It's not like a flat top. It's the top is down against the side of it.
Hmm.
And so I hid everything up there. So it was safekeeping where people didn't know it was up there and that they couldn't accidentally take my swag or I wouldn't lose it. But apparently it was so good that I forgot about it altogether until like an hour after searching.
Yeah, I kind of had a ace up my sleeve because with Mandy was running tickets, so people she would as soon as people she's seeing everybody that's walking in the door, so she was able to hand out our swag and hand out and collect swag. So what I did is we had two tote bags, one for our swag and one for the swag we were getting,
Yeah.
and yeah, I still haven't gone through it. It's full. It's full of stuff.
Swag was on point. It was pretty amazing. And I'm just really thankful that everybody cared that much to put together swag for this little event that we put together for ourselves.
Right. It's it's crazy to think that we were able to do this, and it's like I'm curious because it's just a little bitty show. No there's really no vendor coordination. They were just making panels, and it's like it's I don't want to say minimal planning, but you know what I mean? It's not like you're organizing 1,000 vendors or something like that. You know what I mean? You're dealing with 30 people or
Yeah.
whatever. You know what but how do people put on show? People year after year put on cons that, you know, I guess you got to have a full team or
Well,
something or
yeah, but it's like they have a graphic designer who makes the banners. They have this person that does this and coordinates guests
Mhm.
and they have like a team of people. It's not just five people, six people running this thing and making centerpieces. They don't have centerpieces. They don't have like the sit down experience. It's like you come, you buy your tickets, everybody sets up their own stuff.
Mhm.
The vendors set up their stuff. It's like a completely different animal,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
my
So,
opinion.
well, like you were, and it definitely it makes you appreciate the work that goes into stuff like this a lot more.
And
Because,
so at the start of this, I said, we're not complaining.
right.
Uh, we're just letting people know what was going on during the event. I just wanted to highlight that at the end of the night, the blue milk table had Rich printed this thing out and it didn't turn out the way he wanted.
Hmm.
So he didn't really have it on display, but it is the cover for the Vintage Collection Archive Edition, Volume 2. And I am one of the authors on that project.
Yeah.
And so for the past year and a half, we've been working on taking photos. My intention was to finish writing by Rogue Fun. I even took time off at the beginning of April to try to get that done,
Mhm.
and I didn't get it done. So, in addition to planning this event, I was writing a major book because things can't be easy for me. I have to make it difficult.
Right. And you were printing heads and you were doing swag and you were,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that provides the full picture of what I was doing during this event.
Right. And I had to apologize to you later because you were just like, go look at Blue Milk's table. And I looked at
Yeah.
Blue Milk's table and because he had the thing kind of hidden. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I think nothing of it because I appreciate the books because you guys are putting work into them and I want to support my friends, but I'm not like, oh, TVC book, yay. And totally missed your name was on it. And I just go about my business. And then Rich, like hours later, is walking with it, the cover in his hands. And I look at it and he's like, look at this. And I look and I see your name and my heart just sank. And I felt like crap because I'm like, my friend is trying to show me something he's excited about. And I totally missed it.
There's a billion things going on. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. And so, but later on, I caught up with you and we had the same conversation we're having now. And you were just like, yeah, it's good.
It's
But
fine.
I was just like, man, this is something you're excited about and wanted to share it with me. And I just totally flaked. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited for you. It was like a little, my heart skipped a beat, when I saw your name on there. Cause I was like, oh, I know what it means to you to be included in that book.
Yeah, so uh we're still working on it. Now that Rogue Fun's over, I could put all my energy into finishing that, and I've got some interviews to conduct, and we'll make a bunch of contacts. Hopefully, that once the book is out, maybe we can have some of those interviewees on our podcast to talk Star Wars and the vintage collection. We'll see, no promises.
Yeah.
But but yeah, look for having that book towards the end of the year. I can't provide a date yet because we don't know, but that's the goal, is
Yeah.
to have it by the end of this 2026.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
So that was Rogue Fun too.
Yeah. So if you're looking for another boutique convention, put May the North. It's going to be in Canada. It's September 24th through 26th in 27. So if you guys can make it happen, I would highly suggest making that trip.
Yeah. It's well worth the effort.
Yeah. So I mean, that's probably going to be we're going to do a New Orleans trip, and then that's probably going to be our other trip next year, is to go up to May the North.
Yeah, I'll be going to California, and if I can, May the North. That's the intent, but we'll have to see where I am after my California trip.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, as much as I'd love to go, I mean, I can complain about Celebration and not complain, but that's going to be an expensive trip, the California trip. But yeah, I'm definitely envious of you being able to make the trip to Celebration. I mean, I'm not saying it's out of the cards for me, but you never say never,
Yeah, and now that I've made the announcement about the TVC book, when I go to Celebration, it's more for selling the TVC book and
Right.
not hanging out. But we'll see. We won't have a booth. We'll just be walking around with a backpack full of books. Hey, buy my book.
Oh, that's going to hurt at the end of the day.
Well, not if I sell the books early. So we'll see. That's the intent, and it was a good time. I hope everyone had fun. I hope they had Rogue fun. We raised $12,000 for charity. I went to work and everyone's like, "How's your Star Wars convention?" I was like, "Well, we raised $12,000."
Yeah.
I like to lead with that because I feel like they look down on Star Wars and the Star Wars nerds, and it's like, no, we did something pretty fabulous. We raised money for charity.
It is. It's sort of yeah, no, I feel it too, because everybody is sort of like, you do a Star Wars thing, you've got a Star Wars club, you've got all this Star Wars stuff, and I'm like, yeah, and we actually do some good.
Yeah.
So because you've had,
So
I think
calm
it's
yourself before you start judging.
Say that again.
Calm yourself before you start judging us.
Right, exactly. So, no, it was awesome. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love hanging out with our friends. It's fun hanging out with our friends and doing something fun and seeing people some of these people I hadn't seen in a year and a half, since actually longer, since Celebration. Or actually, well, no, the trip in since our last big trip. But yeah.
But with that, I would like to highly recommend that if you did not get a copy of Tales of Scum and Villainy, to go over to David Quinn's Prototypes in Production podcast, because all of the authors recorded their story. So you can hear it in their voice, sometimes in their own different voices, like Bonda Baba and Dr. Evazan, which I had to be careful because for some reason I kept slipping into like some sort of Hispanic accent, which was not the intent. So I had to like re-record some lines. And Sean Moynihan does this perfect impression of B. Arthur as Akmina.
Oh, awesome.
There's like, you wouldn't in modern Lucasfilm lore get a story about Jenny Akmina or the Hammerhead story that Adam Throne told. So I highly recommend going over there to listen. If you want more Rogue Fun stuff, I'm sure David's working on his episodes for the day by day of all that fun stuff. And we'll be back in a month to talk Maul, Shadow Lord. We'll talk Mandalorian and Grogu. We'll make dedicated episodes to that, and hopefully have some more friends on and talk with our collecting friends. So there's not just us yapping. I'd really like to get more people on the show and to learn more about them and their history and stuff. And now that we've made more connections, maybe we can have people outside of our normal friend zone, I guess, to have on and talk Star Wars. And
Yeah, I know that. If yeah, if you guys are interested, shoot us an email. Jason will say it here in a minute.
yeah, because that's how we met Lori. It was great.
Yeah.
I was very thankful. That's the other thing. Like, I was running around doing 12 million things. I didn't really have much time with Lori, but there was a couple times where I looked over and you were like sitting at his table. You were talking to him for a while. I was like, okay, thankfully Glenn's able to give him some attention.
Yeah, I know. I whenever I could include him, I was trying to include him. That was another thing. I forgot to mention there was 3 or 4 people that like came to that event because of this show.
Hmm.
So that was kind of eye opening,
Hmm.
that was kind of cool to hear. Uh,
If you remember their names, let me know. I'm curious.
well, was it Steve? Well, who's the guy that with the micro galaxy stuff? We didn't say what we picked up. We're about to end it,
No.
and then who is that guy? Because he said he'd sent you a couple of mic. It started with an S. He given he said it's Steve. No, it's not.
Is it George?
George.
George is the friend of Angie and Steve, and yeah, Rich, Angie and Rich. Sorry,
Yeah.
you had Steve in my head.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry. Sorry, George.
Yeah, we talk frequently on Instagram. Yeah, he's a listener and he's a friend, so it was good to
Yeah.
see and hang out with him. He's not on Facebook, so
Yeah.
it's cool to hang out. He was actually the first person to buy the Rogue Fun ticket because Rich and I had the site up and running, and he
Mhm.
wanted to come. So we're like, okay, go ahead and test it because you won't be around for the announcement of its tickets are on sale. So he was able to purchase a ticket and kind of run through it and make sure the system was working right.
Mhm.
So that was cool.
Yeah, but like George and Lori, and I think there was 1 or 2 more people, but that whole weekend was such a blur of just everybody coming up, going, "Hey," um, because yeah, I
Yeah,
can't remember. You got 200 people coming up that know your name, and it's hard to remember 200 people.
at room sales, I picked up 2 books. They're Galoob books. They were like storybooks, and they came with a mini action figure in the book.
Nice.
So it's like a book you can read and then play with your little action figure. So it came with a Falcon and an X-Wing, I think. And then I also picked up a Rubik's figure of C-3PO with Salacious Crumb on the shoulder.
Oh
So
yeah.
I've got that. And then the last thing I picked up were some unused card backs for Action Fleet from the Saga line. One of them doesn't have the Chad punched out, so it still has the little like it was pressed, but nobody punched it out.
Mm,
So I've got the 4 different versions of that. So that
nice.
was cool.
Yeah, I I finally got my TIE Defender. I got the prototype X-Wing, or not the X-Wing, TIE Fighter. I picked up a new Toy Fair book that had Bill and Ted in it because Mandy had destroyed my other one scanning it for people.
Yeah.
Because the binding on those just do not hold up after so much time. And then I picked up as the nights rolling on, somebody walked up to me and goes, "Do you have this figure?" And I was like, he hands me the Galactic Heroes Hera prototype. So I was just like, I have her, but I'm not.
Unproduced, right?
Yeah, she's unproduced.
Yeah.
So I was able to pick up another Hera and another Ezra. So we struck a deal on that.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was cool. And then as we're talking, I'm sorry, I'm remembering stuff as we're talking. So when Steve was here, we're just meeting. Of course, David's all like, "What do you have new?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know." So I pull out. I remember that I got in a paint sample Wampa, and then I also pulled out I was like, "Oh, I've got one for micro collection." So I pulled it out, and I'm like, "I believe this is a paint sample, but we really can't tell, because it's in a baggie." And so Steve was looking at it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's got a sheen on it versus the other, a production model." And so we're like, "Oh, cool. So that's something nobody's ever seen." And then David was like, "Well, maybe you should pair it up with a production figure." So later in the day or later that whenever, a couple of days later, I'm going through my, just wandering my room, and I'm like, let me take this because I had it in a plastic case, the micro collection one. So I'm glad I took it out of the case, and I'm like, let me just rest it. And as I'm doing that, I'm comparing it to the production figure. The paint sample had paint on the bottom of it, on the bottom of the base, like underneath. The production figure didn't. So it's like that confirms it even more that what it is. So it was just it. Like I said, hanging out with those people and being able to have like a private tour, because I know they were at your house, but when you only have like 2 people in your collection, it's a lot different than having 100.
Yeah.
So but anyway, sorry. Yeah, that was just, it was a cool weekend. Awesome weekend. I'm pretty exhausted. It caught up with me, probably midday Monday, because we had talked and you were just like, I was like, oh man, I'm sorry to keep bugging you. And you're just like, dude, I'm in my PJs, and we dealt with what we had to deal with. And then that's it. I haven't done anything all day. And I'm like, well, I had to work all day.
No, my next weekend, hopefully I'm doing nothing.
Yeah.
With Mother's Day activities this weekend, it's like I can't not do nothing. But next
Right.
weekend I'm doing nothing, and then it's like back to work to the things that I've got to do that I've mentioned earlier in this episode.
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm going to go see because Atlanta Symphony's doing Star Wars and more. So we got tickets to that. So that should be fun.
There was two things I wanted to mention. I can't remember what the second one was, but one of the biggest compliments came during the Stephen Duncan panel. Someone asked if the museum would have space to put on an event like this one, the one that they were at. And I just took that as a huge compliment to think that our little event would be worthy of the Saga Museum.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not endorsing that comment. I just said that I was incredibly appreciative of it because I just thought that was very nice of them to think of the event in that way.
Yeah.
They did say event space was a premium, or a museum space is a premium. So there's no guarantee that they would have like a ballroom like that. I mean,
Mhm.
they might need space for a warehouse in the back or more content. Oh, I remember what the other thing was, more content for their museum. So there was no guarantee that they could do anything like that. But just to be even considered to be like, this is worthy of something that would happen in the Saga Museum
Yeah.
was cool. The other cool thing was at the end of the Puppetry Center, Steve said something like, it's just cool to be in a museum and see that each display is different. So it was just like I felt like there was a conversation about, do all displays need to be the same or do they need to be different? And I
Mhm.
think it was cool for him to go and see that the cases themselves are different and it kind of matches the personality of what is in the frame or in
Right.
the display. So it was just cool to be like part of that, like even from a distance, just helping them kind of look at things differently and be like, oh, I could see this. It doesn't need to be all black cases. Like if you wanted to have a case that was a little bit more fun and funky for one item next to a black case that's more serious, you can do that.
Right.
So that was cool.
Yeah. No, and I think because I got to hang out with Toby a lot this weekend. Or that week, because he's doing May the North. He was just like, you guys just keep raising the bar, and I keep texting my guys for May the North, and it's just like, yeah, we're in trouble. He's like, the Georgia group has raised the bar, and then because
No,
he's like, you guys raised it for Rogue Fun, and then you raised it even further with Rogue Fun too. So it's like
no.
well, I'm just saying,
Each event has its own personality. You don't
right,
have to have our personality. You can make it
right.
your own without having to replicate everything. So just
Right. No, I'm
do
just
your
saying
thing.
that people they appreciate the hard work, and it's just like
Well,
it's
thank you.
like the what we like you were saying with the Saga Museum. It people it's just like, oh, these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah. There was one other thing and it slipped my mind. Oh, the table. This is a cool story. And then I'll wrap it up, I promise.
Yeah.
So Mark suggested that we order a table runner to go at the front of this room
Right.
for that says the Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors. The debate was like, do we make it Rogue Fun or do we make it Georgia Alliance? And I was like, well, let's do Georgia Alliance. That way it's more than just one-time use. Because if it says Rogue Fun 2, Fun and Villainy, we can't use it for another convention or a table at a show or something. If we had Georgia Alliance and we could use it, whatever. And so I realized on Wednesday before the show that I hadn't received shipping notice. Actually, now that I think about it, I still haven't received it.
Oh man.
Um, but it was shipped because it shipped the day of the event. So I quickly threw together that table thing. I got some vinyl. I cut out my own logo. I heat pressed it so it's like permanent and everything.
Hmm.
So I quickly made that like 2 days before the event just to have it up there. And then it was after the event, we were pulling things down. I checked my email and oh, the table runner had shipped. So it's like, oh, thanks. That's handy.
You're right. And I remember seeing that table runner and being like, huh, I thought it was going to be more grand. Now that you explain it, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I didn't.
I had bought some teal fabric is to mock up the centerpieces because I thought I'd just buy some fabric and make something underneath the centerpieces. But when time was running short and I had figured something else for the centerpieces. I had to do something with this fabric, and I was like, oh, I know what I'll do real quick.
You're right. And just the way you just nonchalantly, you just threw it away at the end of the event. I was like, oh, because I had no clue what was going on in the background. I
Yeah,
was like, I thought we special ordered that.
we did, just not that one. So, well, with that 2 hour episode, I would just like to say thank you to everybody who came to Rogue Fun. I hope you had fun. It's in the name.
Yes.
And thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen. It really helps us out and points people to our show. You can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We love feedback. Oh, we didn't even talk. This has to be talked about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Lewis's bit.
Oh my God.
We've got to talk about this. And then
That
I'm
was
sorry.
so good. That was so good.
Lewis came up to us and he's like, "Hey, can I do pink shorts?" So everybody knows the story that on the set of Star Wars, there was a sound guy with his boom mic in the desert and only pink shorts and sunglasses.
Yeah.
And he does so much. It was like, yes, of course. If you want to get down to pink shorts and get down to your britches, we're more than happy to do that. So I tell Mark this, and Mark actually got a chuckle. He's like, that's a good bit. Yeah, let's do that. And so we had to postpone it because we were running slightly behind time. And then it was time. He was ready to go. And so I was like, what do I say? And Mark's like, just get out there and say something. So I was thinking like, well, if I need to stall, I'm going to say something from the heart.
Yeah.
So I go out there and I was about ready to say like, thank you everybody for coming. We really did this for you guys because with the first one, we just wanted to have a good show, but everyone was asking us, when's another one? When are we going to do it? And so we're doing this one for you. I didn't get that far. I was just like, just want to take a moment to thank everyone. And the mic went out. And it was like perfect timing. Mark said afterwards, it's perfect because you were getting emotional. And so the mic went out and people were like leaning in to hear what you were going to say. And so the mic went out and we needed a backup mic. And that's when Lewis came out in pink shorts and the boom mic. And everybody just started to laugh in hysterics. It was the perfect joke.
Yeah.
And it really put Lewis in the spotlight because, again, he does a lot of work behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have that moment in the spotlight, I thought was well deserved. And I was incredibly happy to have everybody laughing and enjoying the moment and having Lewis front and center.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny because April's like, I don't want to be anywhere near his wife. April, his wife, was like, I don't want to see this. I can't. So she had to leave even the hallway. She didn't want to be anywhere near it. My daughter was out in the hallway. She had no clue what was going on. Her face was just like, what is going on? Why is this guy in pink shorts? So I had to explain it to her the next day, the reference.
Yeah, I know the pictures we have of Josie and it's looking because she's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The reaction shots are awesome. And you did such a good job because I knew the bit was coming. I thought it was a little bit more refined, but you sold it perfect. You even had me fooled because you were throwing it to auction, which I'm
Acting.
sitting. Huh?
Acting.
Acting. So you were throwing it to me. I was standing on stage getting ready to do the auction, and you were getting ready to throw it to me. And as soon as the mic cut out, I was sort of like, oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
I knew. And I've got this great picture of Lewis. I actually made it for his event, for the cover for his event
Yeah.
that he's hosting in September, of him just a shot of him bringing the mic to me, and it's just such a good shot. It's just like, oh, that was such a good bit. And
Yeah.
yeah, because he did that to us at one of his events, and nobody knew it was coming. And yeah, he sold it perfect. You sold it perfect. You had me fooled. And yeah, that was beautiful. A nice little joke, and then everybody got a big kick out of it,
Yeah.
and everybody got the reference, and it was
Well,
awesome.
I really have to go get ready for Mother's Day stuff. So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We'd love feedback. We'd love to make you part of our show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. And thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. People, collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. We'll see you in a month. We'll be back. This is the way.
This is the way.